Hey, it's Dusti Martin with Corcoran Platinum Living. Today we're going to talk about selling your home in Phoenix or the areas in and around the Phoenix area. So buckle up, let's go. All right, so the first thing we need to do when we're thinking about selling our home going into 2022, here it is almost the middle of December, we need to try to anticipate what the market is going to be doing or what buyers are going to be doing in the coming months. So let's unpack a few things that are going on in our market right now. Right now, our inventory is really suppressed right now in the Phoenix area, Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Cave Creek, Carefree, it's all the same. Inventory is still down over this time last year from 2020. So going forward, we know that as we enter January, more homes will come on the market, maybe a little more now. Less people tend to list during the holidays. However, you need to know that come January 1, the people who've been thinking about selling their home, who are serious about it, those people are going to be coming onto the market. Will it be a flood of inventory? Probably not, but it'll be more than we have right now. The second thing we need to realize is that the Fed has already announced that they are going to start slowly increasing interest rates and that they have already started. And that is going to put a little downward pressure on the buyer's market. Not that those buyers who wanted to buy suddenly won't be buying, but it means that what they can afford will be a little bit less. So in about the last week or so, interest rates have gone up about 0.25%. On the average home sale here in Arizona, that's about $70, or in some cases $100 or more on their monthly payment on their mortgage. Well, when you're looking at the average price points and below, that payment has a greater effect on how much they can afford. And that could be a $10,000 to $50,000 budget decrease simply because interest rates went up. So that likely means that the buyers who could afford things can either afford less or they've now been priced out of the market, which means a little less buyers for you. Will we probably still be in a seller's market? Yes, but it probably won't be the 1 or 2 days worth of supply or a week or two of supply. We might get back into maybe a month of supply, a month and a half, maybe even 2, depending on your area and depending on your price range. So keep that in mind. Going forward, armed with that information, you want to make sure that your house is the prettiest girl on the block. You want to make sure that you've done all of your preparations for selling. Have your favorite realtor come eyeball the property, see what types of loans it would qualify for, and if there are any simple fixes that would prevent your home from being financed by, say, a VA buyer or an FHA buyer. Those are things that you're going to need to know up front. The other thing you should keep in mind is that going into this next spring selling season, because of those price contractions, those of you in the luxury market are going to feel the crunch most. One of the things you need to remember is that if the house and the price are not compelling, the house is not selling. So with that information armed, look at what the recent comparable homes have done, the ones that are on the market and the ones that have recently sold, and see how your home compares. And you'll have 2 options. Either fix it up and update it or paint, or do whatever it is that you need to do to get it to match those homes if the budget is there and if it financially makes sense for you. Or second, I need you to take a good long look at your home and see what would a buyer think, and I need you to be honest with yourself, because if you don't have the money to paint or update or deal with some of these issues, remember that you need to price it appropriately, so that way when a buyer looks at your home and sees the amount of work it needs or the amount of work that the average buyer would want done at a bare minimum, that price is in keeping with what they will see when they look at somebody else's home, and they can kind of weigh the difference and go, yes, that home costs more, but all those things are done. This one is the same home. It needs a little TLC, but I can see that they've priced it appropriately. And for me, it's worth it to put in the sweat equity, if you will. The next thing you might want to consider is actually considering having your home pre-inspected before sale, especially if you're in the luxury market or if you have a large custom home or an older home. These inspections will find the things that might be deal breakers for your property. Now, one of my first brokers that trained me used to say, big properties with big price tags have big problems. And you're going to want to know those big problems because the big problems are the things that will kill a deal. So the more you know those in advance, the more you can either address them, fix them so that they aren't an issue, or price and negotiate properly. You will have to disclose that to the buyer, and if you fixed it, if you did fix it, and how and who, that's one thing. But if your agent doesn't know, then your agent can't negotiate the best on your behalf. Next up, this only applies if you have a septic. If you are anticipating your home to sell within the next 6 months, get your septic inspected. Make sure it's passing, because the last thing you want is to get to the end of a transaction, wait till all the appraisals have been done, all of that, inspect the septic tank, and then find that it fails or needs to be re-inspected after some repairs. So those are big ticket items, and it's going to cost you a few $100, but you're going to have to do it anyway in the state of Arizona because sellers are legally required to provide the inspection and disclosures for septic tanks. So that's something you're going to have to do anyway. It has to be done 6 months prior to closing when you do get to the point of selling your home. So you might as well do it now, because I don't anticipate, at least for the average home, homes selling in over 6 months, since we're still going to be probably well inside a seller's market. It just may be a little slower. So keep that in mind. One of the other things you need to consider is pick your realtor, pick them early. Before any of the other things that I just mentioned, make sure you pick your realtor and make sure it's a good one. It must be somebody who's doing video on every single listing. It needs to be cinematic video, not just a slideshow of photos. The algorithms know the difference. Google knows the difference, Zillow knows the difference, and their algorithms are not optimized to give you a slideshow. They are optimized for cinematic video, which is what buyers want to see. So make sure you're picking an agent who does video, who will do a lot of marketing, who will not just rely on the MLS to syndicate to all the websites that it does, because there's so much more that goes into selling your home. That is something you cannot skimp on. So make sure you pick the best realtor, and remember, you get what you pay for. All right, so now we get to the point where you've picked your realtor, you've done all the listing paperwork, you've got your agent who's done all of the marketing, and you're ready to go on market. I still strongly, highly recommend that you try to take a weekend of staycation somewhere, pack up the kids, pack up the animals, go somewhere up north, go to a resort, put the puppies in doggy daycare. Do whatever you got to do to make that home easily showable for about a weekend. I've been doing this model since at least 2019, and I have to say that so far, and I know a lot of agents have started to adopt this in the last 6 months to 12 months, but I've been doing it a couple years now, and it works. The easier your home is to show, the easier it will be to sell it, because then more buyers can get into the home. If you have any questions, or if you're wondering what your home might sell for in today's market, go ahead and give me a call at 480-717-9405 or visit my website at dustimartinrealtor.com.